This video is for Monday, April 27th for Algebra 2. Today we're going to be reviewing exponent rules. So we studied these, I believe, in January, but we're going to review exponent rules today. So the first exponent rule is called the product rule. So the product rule says if you have the same base, so like if you had this problem, so those bases are both A. If you have the same base and you're multiplying, you're going to add the exponents. So this problem would become A to the n plus m. So when you have the same base, you add the exponents. Okay, that's called the product rule. Alright, next up we have the quotient rule. And the quotient rule says if you have the same base and you're dividing, we're going to subtract the exponents. So that's the quotient rule. Alright, then we have the power rule. So the power rule says that if you have something like this is also called power to a power, you're going to multiply that n and m together. So now it looks like this. Okay, so that's called the power rule. Now, if you have radicals, it's slightly different. So I'm going to show you this. Alright, so underneath the radical, we have a to the n, and then our index, this little number on the outside of the radical, is m. And when you have that, we're going to take our exponent on the inside, n, and divide it by the one on the outside, m. So this would become a to the n divided by m. Like that. Okay, next one is negative exponent rule. So, you probably heard me say this a lot of times by now, but do you remember what happens if you have a negative exponent? We practiced this a lot, so I hope that you're thinking it gets moved to the bottom of the fraction, if I can spit it out. So it gets moved to the bottom of the fraction. So if you had b to the negative first, you'd put 1 over b to the first. Or if this had said b to the negative fourth, this would be 1 over b to the fourth. So negative exponents get moved to the bottom of the fraction and they become positive once you move them to the bottom. Okay, and the last one is the zero rule. So anything to the 0 power equals 1. So even if it's like 297 to the 0 power, it's still going to equal 1. Alright, so are you ready to do some examples? Alright, so we have 5 examples, and then you'll have a Google form on this to fill out for the day. Alright, so the first example, we're going to simplify 4x to the third times 2x to the third. Alright, so when you have a problem like this, we're going to take the numbers in the front, the 4 and the 2, and we're going to multiply them. So what is 4 times 2? 8. Then with these exponents, since the base for both exponents is x, we're going to add 3 plus 3. So we're going to have x to the 6th. Like that. And that's the answer. That's example 1. So hopefully that seemed pretty easy and familiar. Alright, so let's try example 2. Now, example 2, we have x squared y to the 5th over x y to the 4th. Okay, so this is a dividing problem, so we're going to subtract our exponents. So the ones that have the same letters, we're going to subtract the exponents. So 2 minus 1 is 1. And we usually just write x. We don't write x to the first. But if that makes you feel better, you can write it that way for now. And then 5 minus 4 is 1. So we have x, y. And that's the answer to the second one. Okay, now example 3, we're going to do kind of 2 ideas at once. we're going to be doing the power rule and also the quotient rule. So let's look at it. Okay, example 3 says simplify 3x to the 5th y over 5x y to the 4th, and that whole thing is being taken to the 3rd. So that means everything in there is being taken to the 3rd power. So we're going to start with doing 3 to the 3rd power. So that means 3 times 3 times 3. And we know that 9 is 3 times 3. And we just need to do that one more time. So 9 times 3 is 27. So 3 to the 3rd is 27. And then we're going to multiply these exponents. So 5 times 3 is 15. And then this is a 1 right here. So 1 times 3 is 3. Okay? Now, 5 to the 3rd. I know that 5 times 5 is 25. So let's see what 25 times 5 is. 10, 11, 12, 125. Okay, then we're going to have 1 times 3 makes x to the 3rd, and 4 times 3 makes y to the 12th. So now we have to simplify this fraction here. So 27 over 125, you can't simplify that. You can try to simplify it on your calculator, and you'll notice that it doesn't simplify, it just stays that same fraction. So 27, 125. Now, with these x's, we're going to subtract the exponents. So 15 minus 3 is 12, and that's positive, so x to the 12th is going to go on the top. And then 3 minus 12 is negative 9. So let's entertain that thought for a second. Negative exponents get moved to the bottom of the fraction, and then they become positive. So we're going to actually have to put y to the 9th on the bottom, like that. And then that is the final answer. And that's a terrible circle, but that's the final answer. Okay? So hopefully that made sense so far. We're going to have a very similar problem on example 4. Okay, so let's check out example 4. Alright, it says simplify 2x to the 3rd y to negative 4th times 2. Not times 2, squared. Sorry, squared, not times 2. Alright, so 2 squared is 4. And then we're going to multiply our exponents here. So 3 times 2 is 6. Then we're going to multiply these exponents. So that's going to make y to the negative 8th. Okay, now the negative 8 part gets moved to the bottom of the fraction and it becomes positive. So your final answer is going to look like this. 4x to the 6th over y to the 8th. Like that. Alright, so that's the answer to example 4. Alright, so we have one more example to do, and then you will do your Google form on this. Okay. I'm not sure how many of you are actually watching these videos, but if you are, thank you for watching, and I hope that they're helping. I know it's not as good as me teaching you in person, but I hope that these videos are helping you. Alright, so this last example says 2cd to the 4th squared times cd to the 5th. Okay, so we're going to do this in 2 different parts. So first we're going to deal with this part. We're going to have 2 squared, which is 4. Okay, then we're going to have c squared, because this is a 1 right here, so 1 times 2 is 2, so c squared. And then 4 times 2 is 8, so d to the 8th. Then over here, this is going to become c to the 5th and d to the 5th, because these are both 1s right here behind c and d, so c to the 5th, d to the 5th. Now, this is not simplified, because as you notice, we have c squared and c to the 5th there. We're multiplying all of this stuff together, and if you remember from our rule earlier, the product rule, you add the exponents if they have the same base. So we're going to have 4 stays a 4. Now C, 2 plus 5 makes 7. And then D, 8 plus 5 makes 13. Okay? So that is the answer to example 5. Alright, so if you have any questions on that, please let me know. I'll be happy to help you. Alright, so that's it. I hope you're well and I miss you. So see you later. Bye.